Hello, hello, hello. Mike Lang, the Chief Innovation Program Officer, and welcome again to the playground. We're going to hopefully have some interesting times. We changed the topic today because I had some experiences in the field that kind of encouraged me to think about this particular concept during today's show. We'll work for about half an hour, 35 minutes maybe. We're going to play around with the idea that you can't really have the environment where we're going to encourage kids to use their imaginations and be creative if we don't set that environment up. And the tool, if you're in Southern Nevada, if you're in the state of Nevada, the tool that you have access to for your learning management system is called Canvas. The Canvas Learning Management System has a lot of potential, but there are a lot of issues in terms of just setting it up with the design parameters that will allow us to be successful doing the things that we would like our students or our learners to do. So we're going to take some time today to experiment, to play around with that concept. If you're watching, great. If you're watching this live, great. Shoot us a chat. Let us know what's popping. If you're not watching this live, you're watching this broadcast later on, totally cool. If you have any issues, reach out and we'll play around with those. We'll play around with it and see if we can figure those questions out. So first and foremost, Canvas. So Canvas was adopted as the learning management system for the state of Nevada a couple years ago. It's a good learning management system. It's not very user friendly all the time, so it does take some time to get used to the nuance, to build inside there. They also have the elementary version of the product, which I'm not a huge fan of because it takes every course that a kid is learning and creates its own class for it, which is confusing to our little friends. But it is what it is. We're going to work with those constraints in mind, but also with the idea that you don't have to master every component of Canvas to do a pretty doggone good job with it and set your students up for success. All right. And so we're going to look at Canvas itself. We're also going to look at some tools that can help us design for Canvas a little bit easier, and then take any questions if there are any, and then we'll move on to next week, and we'll come up through my travels. We'll come up with some another idea, problem of practice that we can play around with next week. All right, let's rock and roll. And so we're only going to kind of deal with 3 ideas today. And first is just Canvas itself. Then we're going to look at H5P and also PopTake as ways to organize your content so that we don't have to have the issues that mark confusion or anything in your classroom. All right. And so here's inside of Canvas. If you are a Canvas user, whether it's Clever that you're logging in with, whether it's Google or whatever, these are all classes that I've created in order to either just play around and experiment with different sets up, or to help teachers in classrooms. Right. So if we look at this one, this is one that we helped build with Mac Middle School. So you'll notice that I've got the GIF there, so we kind of got that video feel, some basic information there, all that wonderful stuff. There's a welcome to your teachers. All right. So right here, my lead designers here. All right. And we're gonna kind of just play around with how I set this up in just a moment. It's always a good thing to do the course summary page as your home page, which I'm going to show you as well, because the course summary page is your home page. It's going to show your students or whoever happens to be in your course all of the work that is expected out of the course, and the due dates, if you add due dates or whatever to it. So it's an easy pivot. So when a parent or family member says, hey, Bob doesn't know what he needs to do in your class, if you have everything built in the course summary page, it's going to have every assignment that was assigned and the date it was due as well. So this is an easy way for students to stay current in your class without having to go through all the modules and whatnot. So that would be the first design concept to kind of to deal with. I'm going to show you how to do that in a moment. All right, so we've got that deal there. You also have the idea of the announcements and the modules and things like that. And announcements can be set directly to your students to allow them to know, say you're absent that day because you're sick. Say there's some kind of pop quiz or something. That announcement will send an email to their Gmail if you're in Clark County, as well as it'll be a message inside of Canvas for them as well. You got your calendar and all that wonderful stuff, but let's totally avoid all that stuff and get right to the modules. And so the modules are going to be the large pieces of your course, whether that's like a project, whether that's a week, whether it's a day. I always encourage teachers to think in larger chunks rather than smaller chunks. If you're using Canvas on this like hourly by hourly basis or this day by day basis, it's going to get really complicated and really large. If you think in big concepts and big ideas, you're going to be able to build modules that kind of adhere to what I call the Tom Selleck rule. All right, so if you are someone who is a television person, Tom Selleck in his younger days was Magnum PI, carried a 357 Magnum. So we want the way that I design modules is either going to have 3 pages, it's going to have 5 pages, or it's going to have 7 pages generally. Now, sometimes, as you see with this first one, I break that rule, but generally my idea is to break things into chunks where there's just 3 pages, 5 pages, or 7 pages of content. That doesn't include like the introduction to the module, or the conclusion. So if I look here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, those 7 pages are where my stuff is. Really, it's actually 6 because my logo deal here is just a place for them to upload everything. So let's look at what this actually looks like. I'm gonna click there. All right, so I've got an image there. I've got it, kind of set out so that the learner knows what they're going to learn during the module, which is great. A little bit of vocabulary there, a little bit of a paragraph there to explain what's going on. Great. Small pieces of text, large images. Small pieces of text, video, small pieces of text. So I often, and this is an example at the very bottom, writing in large paragraphs, writing like novelettes on the pages is not something I would do. Avoid that kind of concept. Write your prose in very short sentences, very short paragraphs, and record the information that's really important so students can listen to that over and over again. And we also don't have any cognitive issues, or we can lessen the cognitive issues there. If you're in Clark County, Immersive Reader should perhaps still be connected to your course, so students will be able to, this is just the free version of it, but they should have a Immersive Reader button up here in this area where it would actually read the information for the students. All right. And I'm going to show you something else that I just didn't mention. So that's a big picture of example of, using Google Keep. Again, very small text, video there, text there. But you'll see these replies on each one of my pages. And one of the things that I do is if I need to use a standard page, I don't. I want to use the discussion pages as my default pages generally, because the discussion pages allow students to be able to converse with one another and also to converse with me. So if people are doing this asynchronously, if students are working at different rates, there is an opportunity for them to ask a question to the class. Perhaps they don't understand something, some other student can step in and fill that gap and help them learn things, or get up out of their seat and walk over to their computer and help them out. Or when I'm reviewing the course afterward, I can look at the questions that were asked in order to make more targeted content for the next day and next week, next lesson, whatever it has been. So that's pretty much it. Let's get to building an actual course here. Go to all courses. All right. So I'm going to hit that plus sign here. You wouldn't do this if you're in the school district. Your courses are already made for you, but you would have the ability to do this in the sandboxes, which if you're not playing the sandboxes, something else I encourage you to do if you want to get a little bit better at this thing. So I'm going to go and put, the playground 2023. All right, cool, great. Super dope. So if you create from scratch, it's going to have all this information and whatnot in it. Because you are not going to be creating from scratch generally, if you're a school teacher, I'm not going to go through each one of these things, each one of these particular categories, just because it'll take time. But what we're going to do is go directly over here to pages. And I'm going to click pages and plus sign. All right, cool. If you click the regular page, it looks just like this. You've got all your tools here. You've got a menu here. You got a page title, and you've got a place to put text. You can also say, hey, I want teachers and students to be able to see this particular page, to edit the page, or anyone. The teachers and students aspect, if you're doing collaborative work with students and they're going to be, adding and subtracting things, that teacher and students idea is really interesting to play around with. But that's not an advanced skill, but just a skill that perhaps we're not going to go over today. So let's actually look. So pages are there. Let's actually go to modules. Actually, let's just go from the top. Home page. We don't have a home page yet. There's nothing there. All right. That's just where our modules are going to be. Announcements. Great. This will keep your students informed, especially as a middle school teacher. When I retired, this was super important. Any assignments, once they appear, will appear here on that page. Discussions, and I will go over again why I use discussions the way I do. The grades, any people in the class, so you'll see all the people in the class. Pages, there don't happen to be any. Files, right? The syllabus, great. Let's start actually with the syllabus. So course syllabus is where what I would make my home page if I were you and I was just starting out. If you're thinking about what your course looks like next school year, this is, to me, the most important page. Multiple reasons. First of all, that course summary. As I alluded to in the other courses, they show all of the assignments that a student is asked to do. And as you add assignments, they will automatically be filtered into this particular place. Also, the calendar is there, which should not be underestimated. Just being able to see what day it is, and then be able to see what day it is here, and then what day things are due here. Very convenient, allows a student not to have that extra cognitive lift of trying to figure out what day of the week that happens to be, or do I have basketball practice that time, or whatever. Really helps you out with that. All right, so I'm going to go and I'm going to hit that edit button up there, and that's going to give me this. Cool. Now, I can type whatever. Hello, world, and welcome. All right, great. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to take that and change that from paragraph to heading 2. And I'm going to pre-format that because I want to make sure that it is accessibility compliant. If I were to just, make it large or whatever, the screen readers would not recognize that as a header. So I want to make sure that the computer recognizes that as a header. This is my class. I'm going do stuff. All right, great. Now, I like pictures. Most people like pictures. So I'm going to click that, and I'm going to go to, not click that, click. I'm going to go to upload image. And if you are a teacher in the state of Nevada, or a teacher who's provided Canvas through their workplace, you're going to have Unsplash up here. And you'll be able to just search for an image and then rock and roll and place it inside there and do what you need to do. I do not have that option. And so I am going to drag a picture in there. And I'm going to do this for a very specific reason. You are going to see that in just a second. So let's see. Let me find a picture that I did. Let me find a cool picture that I like. That's an interesting picture. All right, cool. I'm gonna take this one. So I'm gonna drag that in there. Now, when I drag that in there, I'm gonna see the alt text describing this image. So, a young African American All right. Now I could be super descriptive, but I'm going to keep it to that. I could say this is just a decorative image, but I'm not going to say that. If you take the Unsplash image, I think it gives you the alt text automatically. Right, here's the image. Bada bang. All right, cool in the game. I'm gonna make sure that's checked off, because if you don't show the course summary, that it really is no point of making this your home page. So I'm gonna hit the update syllabus. Great. Now I can add other stuff. You know, you probably have requirements from your principal, from your school district. You know, your name and how you can be contacted, office hours, perhaps your email, what kind of, describing your course, what kind of things you're gonna do, that kind of stuff. All right. So cool. I'm going to go back to that home page. I'm going to go to pages, add one, demo, just so we see this demo. And a regular page doesn't have anything on it. I'm going to make that, and hit the save button. All right, cool. Now, if we go back to home, we are going to see over on the side, if you have a course that was built previously, right? You have ideas or pages, modules, you can bring that existing content into a brand new course. You can also import from your Canvas Commons. So if you've collaborated with a teacher and that teacher has put that course in your Canvas Commons, you can hit that button and bring those materials over. If you are someone who has put your own materials in the Canvas Commons, you can bring those materials over. The course stream, you can go and see how everybody's doing inside that situation. You can make your new movement. You can look at new announcements. Wow. And then look at the analytics of your students and whatnot. And then you can look at the notifications for your course. We're going to hit that choose home page view. And we can choose that syllabus, right? And hit the save button. Bada bang. And now the first thing a kid's going to see is this. All right. So I don't have to choose a page in the technical sense. I can choose the syllabus page, and it's going to help your students so much more than just a regular page in the front. Again, I see the calendar. I'm going to see all my classes. I can still put images and do all the things that other pages could do, and I'm good. So that's the first stylistic thing I would do to knock everything out the park. Now let's go to our modules. Cool. So start thinking about modules. Again, thinking big pieces, not small pieces. So if you were planning a unit, the module is the unit, in my opinion, right? Don't go and parcel it out wherever you did. So start with the big idea of the unit, the project, the idea, great. before you come to Canvas, have that all figured out. What's the first thing a kid has to do, the second thing, the third thing, the fourth thing, the fifth thing, whatever. The rubrics, all that stuff should be already thought out. It'll be done. Because you do not want to have a situation in which you're still teaching traditionally using a learning management system. You want to hybrid the situation. So you can do your small group instruction, your very, your targeted, skills development instruction and stuff in person, and then have students do their work, the project-based work, the big ideas, the summative assessment type work in the cloud or on Canvas. And to me, that's how it works best. Now, you can try to be tedious and put every waking moment of your day inside of Canvas. That's going to, bloat your course, and it's also going to make it not very attractive to students because it's going to be so much work. It's so ridiculous, all right? So, that being the case, again, come to Canvas with your project or your idea already built. Don't try to build it in Canvas, all right? So that could be on sheets of paper, that could be in a notebook or whatever, which you should know the goal of your module before you sit down and start writing your module. All right. What do you mean? Let's go back there. So if I go to my modules here, I've got personal branding is what this module is going to be about. When I put this together, it was already handwritten out. I didn't have to go and think about anything from the quotes to everything, all right? The only thing I had to do sit at the computer is do screenshots, record video, and place those where I needed it to go. All that stuff is there. Also, I use design thinking or design thinking protocol in order to organize the content so that I'm essentially duplicating this same process every time I build a module. It's never just, a new thing, which you can get the design thinking for hours. All right, so all that's there. Big pictures, little type, videos. Big pictures, little type, videos. Cool. All right, now let's go back to what we were just doing, which was, what did I call that thing? Yep, cool. All right, so that's the idea. So how do we do that? Let's go to modules. Add a module, and let's call it, a project. Let's say creating video games as stories. Let's do that. All right. You'll notice that lock until. If I click that, I can lock that until a specific date. So even if I put this in the wild and I say I don't want people to have access until May the 30th, that's going to lock that down. Take that out because I haven't published it. Great. And here is where you have your first real choices in terms of how things are designed. You hit that little plus sign at the top. It's going to give you all of the page types. Is this an assignment? Is it something that you want the kid to turn in? Is it a quiz? Kind of in a traditional sense. Is it a file that you have on your desktop or something that you just want to upload and reference? It's a page, and it's just a regular page where, I don't want any interaction or back and forth with anybody. Is it discussion, which is my default page, and I'm going to show you why in just a second. Text header, which is just going to be some language, some words, some glyphs. External URL, a link to another website that's outside of Canvas, or external tool. A tool that has an API built into Canvas that is not a Canvas tool, which we can go through those kinds of ideas later on. I'm going to stay with the discussion page, and then my topic name is going to be introduction. Now, we'll do that one, and I'll answer that question when it becomes relevant. I'm going to click on that deal, and it's going to pop up. Now, you should build the course as if a kid is going to miss a day or 2 or 10, that they're going to go to the restroom and miss direct instruction and whatnot. So it's going to be important that you record things, you write things very plainly and very simply the way you would like them to be, done. And you also create like collaborative protocols that allow students to, when they come back from the restroom, they come back from being sick for 3 days or whatever, they know to whom to ask questions, how exactly to go back in time in terms of what they did previously and all that kind of stuff like that. Because the worst thing is to lesson plan online into a learning management system and still have to answer the questions that are endemic of in-person learning only, right? And the reason why discussion pages work beautifully as a solution for that particular problem is when I build a discussion page, first of all, it's set up the same way that a regular page is set up. Introduction, talk about something. Great. Now I could add images, video, whatever, anything here in this input. All right. Post to, if I've got multiple classes, I can post that to all the classes so everybody gets the same thing. All right. If there needs to be an attachment there, I can add that attachment. This is where you need to really like take some time and don't skip this. You always want to allow threaded replies. So a student can have a conversation with another student, and the kind of safety valve here is if they're all, if your student information system is feeding the Canvas, the names and first and last names are going to be there. So it's not a situation in which a kid can deny that they are having a conversation with another student. You also want to go and create some kind of protocol for conversing with one another in the classroom. What does that look like to be a courteous critic of work? How do you work together to help people get better? How do you celebrate people correctly and whatnot? So that allowing the threaded replies allows students to have a back and forth with a particular thread or question rather than having those comments be uncategorized. All right. User must post before seeing the replies. Depends. Now, if I'm having students do kind of a gallery walk type concept or something like that, I definitely want to have that be the case. I want you to post your work and then be able to see everybody else's work. But if we're just having a conversation, maybe not. Enable podcast feed. I like to have that deal just so I'm aware of what's popping off on it, especially if this is an asynchronous type concept where students are going to be working at their own pace in different places. Yeah, I want to know what's popping off there. Include the replies. Yes, I want to include the replies just so I'm ahead of the game in terms of as a observer and curator, what questions or issues are students being confused with or confounded with? Are there situations amongst students that I need to go get in front of? So, is cyberbullying going on or anything like that? I want to have as much information as possible at my disposal. All right, grade it. Again, totally up to you. Are you going to grade this or not? Allow liking. Now, allow liking can be a great thing in terms of, whatever. I really appreciate that comment or whatever. It could be a not so great thing in terms of kids assessing the number of likes as self-worth. So Bob got 15 likes, I got 2, so obviously Bob is a wonderful person, I'm not. People's self-esteem could be impacted with that. This is kind of that social media phenomena. So I generally do not allow liking, just to take that out of there. But you might be somebody who's using this as a tool to gauge kids' interest in a particular idea or something like that. That might be reasons why you use the allow liking. Add a student to do. If this is something I want students to make sure they're paying attention to or they need to contribute to this discussion or whatever, yes, I do add it to their to do. Now I can say, okay, cool, it's going to be, today. All right. Group discussions. So you can also have group discussions inside here, which also makes it super cool, is you can take that, and create the group categories. You can allow kids to self-sign up, or you can just create the groups for each of the students. All right, so these 2 people are going to do this. These 2 people are going to do this, or whatever. Groups of 4, groups of 3, groups of 10, whatever, and they can have that conversation. All right. Also, the availability, since I use this as my default page type, I don't put the availability on there just so that anybody can deal with it. So let's hit that save button. Actually, don't want this to be a group. Hit the save button. All right, cool. So I've got my first deal there. Introduction, there's nothing there. I'm going to go back to my modules. And I'm going to add another page. And I'm also going to make that page a discussion. And let's say empathy interviews. All right, cool. Add the item. Empathy interviews are there. Great. Let's click. Do the exact same thing. Let's edit this bad boy. Interview your partner. All right, cool. Interview your partner. Wonderful. Same thing. Like that. Allow threads. Yep. 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 Don't care about that. Don't care about that. Save. All right. So those two things are there. So I'm going to go over here to discussions. And you're going to see that it's going to give me another organizing structure here. So the first structure we have is the modules. Great. 1, 2. The second structure, if you use your discussions, is discussions already. It's going to have those situations done. I can also take it and move those up. Come on. Do what I want to do. Move it down. Oh, why you got to be? You usually can order those. But the other thing you can do is say, you know what? I really want people to make sure that pinned discussion happened. That discussion is so important that we introduce ourselves or whatever it is. I'm going to pin that one. And when we are finished, I'm going to unpin it. Come on, really. Unpin. Thank you. And you should be able to just move it down. But it is what it is. Unpin it. Great. I can also say this one is closed for comment. We don't need any more comments on the empathy deal. I'll move that out of the way. So I'm going to get rid of that. I can move that right out if I decide we're going to talk some more about it. All right. Why the discussion page is the default page? Again, if a kid is sick, kid isn't is in the office, kid just comes in for the first day or whatever, they can go back into discussions and see not only the page, but they're going to see all the replies from the students. So if Bob said, yeah, I totally understand this, and so, here's a resource that helps you understand it better, they're going to benefit from all that knowledge. So it's kind of TikToking or YouTubing your course, where it's not just you as the instructor designing it, but it's also your students contributing to that particular scenario and ecosystem, which is a far better way to do this than, hey, the only person that designs inside here is Mr. Lang. All right, so cool. So we've got those things done. So that's how I get down with the discussions. Now, how do we make these things a little bit more attractive and more interesting? Glad you asked. Go to modules. Now you can do quizzes and all that kind of stuff like that, which is awesome. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do that. I'm going to add a discussion page. I'm going to go and add some video. And you can add YouTube videos and things like this. Analysis. Totally with no problems. But one of the things that I don't like about Canvas is how it's not very intuitive in terms of moving pieces where you would like those pieces to be. For example, if I hit the edit button here, I cannot start writing in the bottom right-hand corner here, for example. I would have to bring in a table and then write down, like, not the most efficient, easiest way to do this. So one of the things you can do is just not avoid that totally. So PopTake is a great tool for recording your lessons, adding all your resources, anything to one spot, and then deploying that inside of Canvas. And so what do I mean? Hit that new lesson button. I can record directly inside here, which is cool. But I can also add a YouTube video, Google Docs, Google Forms, Sheets, multiple choice questions, slides, text, and I can embed things inside here as well. So cool. Now, I'm going to go and give this a name. Playground Demo actually get rid of that. And you can bring in anything from your Google Drive inside here, which is fine. Any YouTube links, Google Docs, or whatever. Or just start with some text. Directions. Make sure you read this. All right, cool. Now I can preview it. Directions, make sure you read this. Wonderful. And you'll notice that there's an embed code button up there and a link, which is also awesome because that's going to come in handy. Recording, add recording. All right, cool. I can upload anything from my desktop, any slide deck or PDF from my desktop, and also import from Google Slides. It'll bring those things in. All right, allow my mic and whatnot. I'm not going to record twice, but that thing exists. Excuse me. All right. So say I want to just add some slides because I want to make this very easy thing to do. With that deal there, cool. And I'm gonna find, I got all my Google Slides stuff here, right? So I got all this stuff here. Wonderful, fine, dandy. Oops. I'm gonna type the word slides, not slides, but slides here. I've gone over my time, but it is what it is. So I'm cool. I'm gonna find some slides that I dig. I'm gonna click that. All right. So it's gonna bring those slides in. It's not gonna bring those slides in, which kind of stinks. Oh, why? Let's see. That was a temporary, momentary blip. All right, let's see. Do that. I thought I had some other slides in here. Maybe I don't. That kind of stinks. I'm gonna use that again and see what happens. Yeah. So we're not gonna bring slides in, even though that worked like a couple hours ago. But it is what it is. From your desktop or from Google, generally it works. I don't know what the deal is with it tonight, but it is what it is. I'm gonna delete that so I don't have to deal with it. So let's take something from YouTube though. Let's say fairy tale. All right, cool. So I'm just gonna take this fairy tale. I'm gonna add that YouTube deal there. Boing. All right, cool. So tortoise and the hair goes inside there. I'm not gonna do that at all. So I'm gonna delete that. Cool. This preview and share button, and I'm gonna copy the embed code there. And I'm gonna go directly to my discussion, and you're gonna see in the bottom right hand corner that raw HTML. I'm simply gonna paste that, and you see it pops up. Now, the issue is for some strange reason that HTML isn't good enough. So we're going to take it, we're just going to drag. And you'll see that it'll expand. And just drag it as large as you would like it to be. All right, cool. And you'll notice we have this nice little interface. Boom, boom, good. Text, YouTube, wonderful. So let's go and let's save that. And there it goes. So I've got my text and I've got my YouTube. And that builds, it takes away the need for me to design all the space because our kid will just be able to navigate down this left-hand panel, whether it's text, videos, whatever, down the left-hand panel, we're good. So that, the pop take tool takes care of a lot of the design for you. The second thing is H5P. This allows us to build interactive content inside of that one, right? Inside of your deal, just like this. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and log in because I've got an account. Really? Oh. Okay, that's so annoying. All right. Anyway, as I'm doing this, one of the things that we can build, or you can build for your students, are some of the games and some of the interactives and stuff that will allow your students to have a little bit more fun with the content in Canvas, because again, it can be very difficult to do that. So I'm gonna actually come off of this one because a new password is gonna be sent to me. So I'm gonna click there. There we go. And let me go and make my new password real quick, and I'm gonna walk you through how to do this. So this is all right, cool. Make a new password really quickly. Yes, that works. Okay, that's really irritating. Cool. Just cool. All right. Excellent. All right, so now let's take it back. So this is a tool that, with a little practice, you can get super good at, and it's going to use that same idea of embedding inside of the tool. You don't need to buy the paid version of this product, the .com, at all. You're probably just going to be making things for your students, which is fine. But there are all of these different types of tools that are pretty easy to build. And so say I want something like this, right? A free HDMI audio recorder, record your voice and play it back or download as a WAV file. Great, wonderful. So hello, this is me not counting to 5 in French. Hello, this is me not counting to 5 in French. Now, you'll notice that that embed code is right there at the very bottom, right? So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to go back to my course, and this is as easy as it is. I'm going to go and add another page. And I'm going to get a discussion. All right, cool. Edit. Same deal. And I'm going to paste. And then I'm going to let it go. And bada bang. That's as easy as it gets. I'm going to go. I don't care about that right now. That save button. There we go. They can record directly inside here now. Super cool, right? Now, is it going to allow you to grade things or not? Absolutely not. But could a kid bring their Chromebook to you and play the recording? Yes. So, hello, this is me not counting to 5 in French. I can download that video though, and so I can download it and then turn it in, which is the benefit of the situation. So this is like a really easy way. Hello, this is me not counting to 5 in French. Bada bing, we're good to go. All right. And so we didn't do anything spectacular, but it is very important, in my opinion, that you have like the building blocks of design. If you know how to set your homepage as your core syllabus, all right, build that up. And you're going to do that because the calendar happens to be there, and all of the assignments are also going to populate without you having to do anything. You also want to default to the discussion pages as your main page, because that is also going to give you the ability to have students interact with one another, and for you to better be informed about your design and questions and comments students have as well. And third, PopTake will let you design your course, really easy. I put all my materials in the pop tech, I take it and embed it, or if I need widgets to build, or have widgets built, these are a bunch of widgets that I can just throw inside these very, very easily and rock and roll with it. And I don't need to pay for it. This is totally free. I can rock and roll and do what I need to do. All right. So these are the kind of tools to explore, so you're not worried so much about how to design inside of Canvas, because that's where you're going to rack your brain and try to figure out every nook and cranny. It's not going to be something that works very, very well. All right. Hopefully you got something out of that. If you didn't, I apologize profusely. If you need to get in contact with me, mike.lang at teachforamerica.org. And we'll be doing some more playing around with how we do creative work inside of Canvas in the coming shows. So for edX, I'm Mike Lang, and this is The Playground. Thanks for being with us. Check you later.